Welcome back to Tuesday Night Lights. It's time for our nightcap series between East Carolina and Texas Tech, a true SEL show match. And I got Skyline in the booth with me, fellow SEL player. So you're getting some firsthand scouting experience with these two teams.
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of the results that they had in the qualifiers for SEL and going to Texas Tech. They ended up going 5-1. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
The only loss they had was their first round to UTK Blue, which I did a little bit of scouting, and ECU actually just played UTK Blue in their first match for SEL. I believe it was either today or yesterday, and they ended up winning that in a sweep. So I don't know if that's kind of a preview of things to come here. You know, one team loses to them, the other team wins. Might be a little bit of the battle of the wits based on a team that we see that they haven't played each other, but they played a team in common. So, we'll get to see that happen right on the pitch in front of our eyes very soon.
I love that UTK's, I think that's their E team, is our reference point right now. I need to look to see if that was actually played out for Texas Tech.
Yeah, it might have been a forfeit.
Because I think it was one of those early series, because like the early series were forfeit city.
Yeah.
But either way, hey, I like the UTK Blue reference. I am all here for that. And this is also a good series between kind of a bottom half tier 1 team in the SEL versus top half or definitely like top side of tier 2 SEL team. And I'll put the rosters up there as well. So we have that. Give me just 1 second. This is what we're looking at tonight. Texas Tech, Wilds, Bramble, and Buki, and then ECU is basically Glare and Chief Not Sober. Same roster for ECU as the fall. Texas Tech, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Wilds and Bramble are returners as well. Buki, I'm not certain on. Skyline, if you know, feel free to shout it out. But still, solid start for both these teams this season.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't say too much for Texas Tech. I can say a decent amount about ECU, though. I do have a little bit of bias, other than the fact I'm from North Carolina, is the fact that my mom actually went to ECU for college. So, it's a little bit of here and there. Obviously, no bias in the cast, but my heart's got to stick with the family. And, if my mom were here watching this, she'd definitely be reading on the ECU boys as we get this match going.
Hey, fair enough. They're good characters. I believe Chief Not Sober's been on State of the SEL before. He made an appearance back in Season 4. So I enjoyed getting to talk with him there. Basically, him and I have chatted enough in DMs. Great dude. Glare, the newest addition to this ECU team, but the one that's been hyped up the most to me is Nation has been following Glare for a while, and he's been hyping him up. He thinks he's going to elevate ECU to conference contender status or a dark horse there, and I'm here for it. They're a top tier 2 team in the SEL, and they're looking to kick things off here, but Wilds makes a good stop for Texas Tech, and they will look to break out.
I completely agree about ECU being a dark horse. They're a team that get overlooked very much so. They were the first team off of that top 16 in the tier 1, so just barely missing out and making the tier 2. Even so, a team that will have to be looked out for. They have King in their assignment. King, also known to be a strong roster, and ECU already showing off right there why they are a strong roster to be reckoned with, as Chief Not Sober playing the 50 off his teammate from basically putting that one back home as no one's there to play it.
That was a clean finish. I'm surprised that Texas Tech was slow to get up to that. But hey, shout out McMaster for the raid. Appreciate you popping over here. Just cast other collegiate matches. Right on. Who'd you cast? Happy to hear about how that went. Welcome to Tuesday Night Lights, my show match series for other collegiate matches. Showing off ECU and Texas Tech right now. And the Pirates looking decent at the moment. But Texas Tech, I know I haven't gotten to see a ton of them this year, really. But I know they're a solid roster with their results so far. And looking to bite back now.
Solid roster they are indeed. It's a tier 1 assignment for them, so they got a lot coming up for them heading into their pool. They're in pool 2 with Broom Parker, another powerhouse that I unfortunately had to go against in the tier assignment and able to take a game off of, but even so, I have a feeling that they will do well in their pool and possibly make playoffs. But right now they're just trying to show off their skill against an ECU roster who is trying to fight to show that the tier assignment, even though they're in tier 2, that they can even beat these tier 1 teams. And I look forward to it, as you have basically on the back line trying to play it away, but the pressure is mounting right now, and the shot comes out, but Claire, nice diving save and no boost.
Blair pushed the ball away, but Texas Tech have been stuffed. They're a couple of trips into offense now, and ECU are definitely positioning themselves as favorites at the moment with Wilds double tap own goaling to give ECU their second. That might be the greatest own goal I've ever seen.
Yeah, Wild, I mean, he's showing off the mechanics, but unfortunately for him, it's going the wrong direction on the field. He gets a nice little double tap there, but instead of tying this game up, he puts his team down to 2 times more than what they just were down by. So they're going to be looking to try to regain here as Wild's a double demo actually coming out from Bramble, and it just gets learned to the back wall and basically just trying to clear.
Okay, so that's the kind of series we're in for the nightcap tonight. And ECU's now up 2-0. Texas Tech are having a good go at potentially finding one back, but right now ECU is in control of game 1 thanks to that own goal and their fast start. And McMaster is saying that ECU is also 2-0 in the C3 right now. So in the Carolinas, ECU's having a good start there. It's just been a good season, I suppose, for East Carolina.
East Carolina always been a dangerous team, always a team I've kept my eye on personally, other than the fact that I'm from North Carolina. They've always just seemed to kind of catch my eye as one of those rosters that go under the radar. Now with that addition come out with player, definitely have bumped up their ceiling opportunities a lot more. But you can't forget about the 2 veterans on this team, Chief and basically the ones that kind of like started this roster just a couple seasons ago, and they've been sticking with it ever since. And they have been just improving day after day. They have been grinding. I have seen basically so many times in 2s. He has been an insane player, and he's looking to show it off on the pitch this season with the addition of his new teammate.
Well, here's Glaire, the new teammate, scoring their second of the game, putting ECU up now by 4. Great 50-50. I mean, I think the third man of Texas Tech was diving in there to maybe force something late here, which fair play for that. But that 50-50 from Glaire, chipping it instead of just taking a neutral ground 50, is exactly what gives him that goal. I don't know how intentional it was, but I like to think it was, because I've heard a lot of good things about Glaire, and that was a great play.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about Glaire, but right now he is shining bright on this field as he is showing off his skill set, going for another one there to possibly get the hat trick, but he just plays it too high. And now basically forced to kind of regain here as Bramble and Texas Tech in general just not able to get much pressure onto that blue half. The second they get it on, it just feels like the defense is too strong for ECU. And Texas Tech is just kind of caught on their back foot, and they just cannot get back on balance.
They will try in the last minute. They're down 4. I don't think the comeback is possible here, but at the very least, if they can get a goal through, they got to feel good with how close they've been a couple of times now. But just to get something started, because their offense has been so stop and go, it feels like they'll get an offensive that lasts maybe 10-15 seconds, and then ECU find a clear, and then either score off that clear or set themselves up for an extended possession. And for Texas Tech, that's difficult to find a rhythm against. And in the final 30, it's still continuing. No rhythm allowed for the Red Raiders, and with 20 seconds to go, game 1 is wraps.
ECU just showing why that potential is so strong for them, as Glaire going for his hat trick there, and hats off to him because he got it. First game in this Tuesday night lights for them, and he's already showing off what he's capable with a hat trick and showing why this team has gotten such a strong player added to the roster.
Clean finish, easy finish for Glaire. I mean, that net was pretty well wide open, but 10 seconds to go now. Game 1 is over. Texas Tech have it all to do going into game 2. I'm interested how they do find their way back here, because it felt like ECU just out-solided them that game. The rotations were clean, the challenges were superior, and Texas Tech couldn't get anything going against that. Even with the clears, they could not keep up with the pace of the Pirates for the first 5 minutes here.
ECU, they were just, they had everything in their corner, and they did not want to let go of it, as it was just such a clean game, like you said, and the ball being up here for almost a minute now, as hopefully soon we might see go down or another goal being scored as the pass coming out.
Oh my God.
And finally, after all that time being in the air, ECU Pirates getting one more, and I guess the Kings of the Sea right now are a little bit stronger than the Kings of the Wild West, as the Pirates are striking hot against this Red Raider team.
Yeah, 6-0 game one is a bit of a statement here, and it makes sense. I mean, East Carolina probably feeling a little hard done by the tiebreakers in the SEL tier assignment, being that first team out of tier 1, and Texas Tech got in with their run to the tier assignment, but 14 shots to 6, ECU winning 6-0, kind of maybe proving like you can't obviously go back and put them in tier 1, but proving that they are tier 1 material.
And ECU, I hate to say it, but like just a big snub for them. Like they're a team that whenever they're on their A game, they can potentially beat those higher rosters that everyone's talking about. I don't know if I would say like Cumberland or Brune Parker. They could definitely hold their own against them, but higher teams that are already there, such as maybe in like Brune Parker Academy, I know that they lost to them in tier assignment. They're still good enough to hang with that team and even beat them whenever they're on. So I definitely think that they will make the playoffs through LCQ, and then they'll get some upsets potentially heading on later this season.
Well, Texas Tech, if they're listening to the VOD back, they just heard a game one that was full of everything complimenting East Carolina. And now it's their turn to change that narrative. And in the first 30 seconds, looking good. I like the creativity there from Wilds, getting the ball to Buki, but still difficult to break through this ECU back line, and basically will supply a big clear down the field. Put Wilds in an awkward spot, and we see what happens when Wilds is a little awkward on the goal line for TTU. The Red Raiders have to make sure they're staying at home in defense and finding ways through the Pirates' back line.
Texas Tech, they definitely have the weapons that can kind of flip a game and flip a series on its head. And I expect Bramble here, he's definitely a good player. We've seen a lot from him in past seasons. I expect him to kind of show out here, maybe just starting off a little slow for this Texas Tech roster, but you just can't count them out even after one game. They'll definitely get their heads back in, and if you're ECU, you just want to try to keep the pressure on, as basically he's going for here as he goes for the double tap, not able to get it in time. Texas Tech holding strong on the defense, but now they got to get some offense going as well.
Basically is really stamping his name on this game so far, even right there. I think going for the demo instead of the ball, and it resulted in a hefty hit on the ball. So he's using a 1v2. Wilds tried to run ahead to take basically out, but he stops ball enough to give Chief enough time to get back, and Blair with enough boost off the back line will supply enough space basically now to potentially clear the ball. He beats Bramble. Musty's a shot on target. Wilds will block it, but ECU still seem the more confident of these two teams.
So dangerous when they're on that offensive half. They just have the mechanical skill set to create their own solo plays while being able to get the passes off, and the team plays have looked really solid so far this series. As a shot finally going in for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, that's going to be the first one on the board, not for just this game, but the series.
Wow,
good way to start.
Free flip from Buki to finish that off. That's why it looked so scary at the end, but he had to secure it because ECU were vacant from their goal line, but inbound quickly. Still, that is the first goal for TTU, and I'm sure they're happy to see that. Wilds got a chance to add to that first goal, but Bramble putting an even better shot on target. Stopped by basically, who now has 100 boost, can flick to clear. And if TTU can find a stop here, they will enjoy their one-goal lead a little while longer.
TTU, their gameplay is so slow, like their style of play is so slow that it feels like it's throwing ECU off a little bit. That's something that they want to control, as Bramble getting a nice save there on the goal line. But they're just keeping the game at their own pace, trying to control the plays and set something up. So something that we didn't really see from last game, since ECU was playing so heavy of pressure, but now that pressure is coming right back for Texas Tech, as shot after shot is going on target, but only one has gone through so far.
Now its slow pace is broken down a little bit. It's awkward in the midfield for Texas Tech. Buki plays that downwards, right at Chief Not Sober, and won a couple of touches there off the sidewall, but it doesn't pan out, at least to a passing play for TTU. Buki and Bramble combining on that ball, but East Carolina, they find a stop, and Texas Tech, for the most part, have been stunted. Their shots are meeting blue cards outside of that one open net that Buki got about a minute or so ago. They have not found much purchase in offense, and ECU still scoreless in game 2, coming up against the same brick wall that Texas Tech is putting up.
ECU not getting as many opportunities as last game, but definitely still playing strong here, and the scoreline just not showing it. As you said, just the defense from Texas Tech has been so dominant that even when ECU gets a shot on target, it just feels like there's always someone in net playing exactly where the shot is going. So ECU, they got to find some bumps here. They got to make some plays going, because right now they're just going for solo shot after solo shot, and the shots, they're just too weak to fall. So they need to get something going, passes off the back wall, maybe force them awkward with a bump. Just get the pressure going like last game if you want to recover in this game.
Chief bumped Wilds downfield, but it was the midfield line outside of the play. Wilds is still upfield trying to make a play on the ball, so maybe that bump comes back to effective positioning, but either way, it's a Texas Tech opportunity now, and Bramble slams it home. 2-0 Texas Tech. They seem to have recovered just fine from that 6-0 slamming of a game 1.
Chief just not having any boost, and fortunately for him, the 50 went right behind him, and that's just a free shot for Bramble. So that's going to be 2-0 with less than 30 seconds. Definitely a flip from what we saw last game. ECU definitely dominating, and as I say that, I might have to calm down a little since they just get one right back, and time is still on the clock for them to tie this one back up.
Well, I can't blame you for thinking that, because ECU really was up against it. Every shot of theirs was being saved. Texas Tech looked like they were possessing the ball a lot better in game 2 here, but ECU off a kickoff found an open lane to shoot, and they can hit their shots, but have to stop this one from Buki. Never mind, it was going after basically not the goal, and it sets up possession for Texas Tech, but basically and Glare have split it up, but Buki intervenes and trying to put this game to bed with a big clear, and 5 seconds to go for ECU to make a play happen on 0 seconds. Chief can keep the ball up, got it to Glare, but there was a defender there in Wilds. Texas Tech win game 2.
Texas Tech definitely playing more to their pace, something that whenever they have the ball on their side and they're able to control the field like that, just have the spacing go their way, it definitely shows you how different this team can be and why they made tier 1. ECU definitely getting thrown off by the switch in pace a little bit. You know, like I said, last game, definitely wanted to play quicker, wanted to show their mechanics, get very aggressive, and that's why they won 6-0. But now, since Texas Tech is adjusting to it after game 1, you know, you get used to the gameplay from the opponent. You haven't played them before. Now you realize what they like to do. You just counter that, and then now you're able to kind of play off of it. And Texas Tech doing it well and getting the win in game 2.
That slower pace of play that you mentioned, I think, helped them a lot more on offense. They were able to control the midfield line a little bit better and prevent all of those ECU counterattacks that we saw in game 1 from coming back in the next game. So good adjustments out of TTU, and we have found a new server as well. Hopefully that helps them if they were having issues. But hey, they look good in game 2 even if there were issues. So Buki says thanks. Let's get into game 3.
Definitely going to be a close one like last, if I had to say. Obviously, we can't judge that until the 5 minutes are up. But an unfortunate miss there, and Wilds is actually going to take advantage of that. I say that in right within the first 10 seconds, Texas Tech striking quick with a unfortunate miss on the blue back line.
And Wilds dunked basically into next week. That's a great finish because basically had Carr on ball right there, but Wilds disrupted everything basically was planning. And to answer Albedo's questions in chat, yes, this is the main Texas Tech roster, the one that went 5-1 and made it to the tier 1 of SEL. So good imagery of what we might see at tier 1 if Texas Tech can pull some upsets off. I know they're on the bottom side of tier 1 for most people's predictions, but they're showing they can compete at a high level.
Teams in tier 1, a lot of them you kind of see, and Texas Tech being one of them is just like, are they going to succeed? Are they not? You don't really know, because these players, you don't, unless you're watching tonight, you don't really know how their gameplay truly goes. So definitely trying to show off here why they're a team to be reckoned with. And I expect them to show off a little bit more, as it's been a slow start. They're trying to recoup a little, and looks like they're trying to get on a roll a little bit more here as this game continues, and it still looks like Texas Tech keeping as much pressure as they can. That
challenge win from basically, though, was massive, because I think Bramble was up ahead, had just found a big demo on the last man of ECU, and basically got possession, I think an open net. I want to rewatch what happened there on the goal line because ECU just missed a massive opportunity.
Yeah, that was a wide open net, and I don't know. It doesn't matter anymore as Player getting a nice double touch there. And Sober, sorry, he actually set that one up, and Glare was already up for the pre-jump and just gets the read in between two defenders on that back line. Insane play for ECU.
So they missed the pretty much open net on the Texas Tech back line, and then Glare scores a pre-jump ground pinch, basically. That's how ECU plays.
That's Rocket League for you.
Yeah, indeed it is. That's why we love this game so much. And at Game 3, I'm happy is tied. We saw pretty much a pair of shutouts. And ECU got one back in the late goings of Game 2, but for the most part, it's been shutouts only for the bulk of regulation in our nightcap series. So I'm glad to see us going back and forth. TTU scored first here, but East Carolina, they answered back and now have to do some defending of their own.
ECU trying to redo what they did Game 1, just again going for attack after attack after attack, but Texas Tech holding strong in their back line. And looks like that's going to be the main reliant of this series for them, as Bramble caught out with no boost, and that's just going to be a free shot for Chief. You can't really defend the back line and high shots if you don't have any boost to get there in time, and Chief takes advantage of that.
He's making up for the error earlier on the goal line, and then some. I mean, Chief got the assist on the impressive Glare opening goal for ECU, and then right there slotted that shot between a couple of defenders. So Chief not sober. Old man, yes, but he's still got some new tricks. He looks good here. One of the experienced veterans on this ECU roster. And there's the other, finding Glare. Just a shot on target. Bramble gets a save, but ECU hold their lead.
Never sleep on the veterans, as both the veterans on ECU make a play right there off the nice little bump play. Chief just throwing a shot on target and basically clearing the way, as Wild's not able to get to that one, as he's sent to his corner, and that's going to be a free goal and a 3-1 lead for ECU.
Clean finish, clean setup. That's all ECU needs. I said it after Game 1 in such an elegant fashion that ECU just out-solided Texas Tech in that first game. And here, I don't know if that was the case in the first couple of minutes, but since then, East Carolina has taken control of this game, and they're out-possessing Texas Tech in the orange end of the field, and they're capitalizing on pretty much all the openings that they're getting, save for a few. And right there, it's a triple commit out of Texas Tech. And ECU, they don't connect on that passing play, but at the very least, hold the midfield line.
Texas Tech, they're taking that brick wall, meaning a little too literally, as all three of the players are trying to cover as much surface area as they can in that net. But right now, they got to get the offense going, because that defense, it looks strong, but it's not strong enough as you're down 2 goals. So Wild's going for the double here, but a good read from Glare, the rookie, coming in, as he's going to take control of the back wall here. In Texas Tech, they're just trying to keep that pressure on, and that slow gameplay that we saw last game not working, as Wilds, he got the own goal in I believe it was the first game, and now in Game 3, we got an own goal from another teammate on Texas Tech in Buki.
Wow, and that own goal was so bad, it destroyed the party that I was in. So, it's 4-1. East Carolina have been gifted a couple of goals, but I mean, they do come at stages in the game where it doesn't really matter, although I suppose the Wild's own goal earlier was the second for ECU. This one is kind of in garbage time, but it does kind of end the game for Texas Tech. Down by 3 with a minute left, you need close to a miracle to come back.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier happen, though.
True.
I can't even lie. You never know until that clock hits 0, but realistically, you are right. This is garbage time, and that game should end pretty soon. The ECU definitely going back to that aggressive play style, and they've played a little bit more bumps, and as you see right there, Chief actually getting a shot, and Glare was going for the bump, but he didn't even have to get it, as that one just forced over the final defender. But yeah, definitely even more aggressive than we saw in Game 1, just going for demo and after demo after demo. And Texas Tech just not knowing how to recover from it.
if Texas Tech can end up winning this series, it's going to be the craziest final goal differential in a loss for ECU. And Bramble's going to make it a little bit better for Texas Tech, but right now the aggregate is 12-3 across 3 games, and East Carolina are only going to have, more than likely, unless Texas Tech come back here, a 1-game lead in this series. So it's an odd start where ECU only win in blowouts, but Texas Tech find ways to win the one close game we've seen of theirs so far.
I think their motto here is it doesn't matter about the score, it just matters about the series at the end. And it doesn't matter if they get the 1-0 win, as long as that scorecard shows a W at the end, that's all they care about. And kind of showing here as the games that they're losing, like you said, they have been pretty much blowouts. I mean, in Rocket League terms, they have been blowouts, but you know, ECU just showing why they're such a strong team, and you know, with the 2 veterans bringing in Glare, showing him the ways of like their play styles. What a save by Chief on the goal line there to keep that one out and keep it a 5-2 score line at the end of this game. Just the 2 veterans leading this rookie into the stretch of this season, and so far they're looking really good.
All right, well, I'll reconnect to the servers so Texas Tech can stop own goaling, but I have to compliment Chief Not Sober. That game, 4 goals, obviously, that's a great stat line, 800 points, shooting 100%, but since he joined the SEL and I got to watch him play back in, I think it was season 4, the fall semester, he has improved so much as a player. And ECU was always a team that was overlooked because they really shouldn't be making a deep run in the SEL. And they did a couple of times. They got like a top 9, I think 1 top 8 as well. But Chief was not this good when he first started playing on my radar. And that game right there, that save at the end especially, his ability to read that play on the goal line, even in garbage time, says a lot about his improvement as a player. And it's obviously helped ECU reach new heights right now because they've got some expectations on their shoulders here.
ECU, a team I remember from SEL in last year, actually. I believe it was in the final semester in spring. They actually went down to Lowers first round and upset King. I remember that. They went to game 5 against Cynical Storm, and I believe it was Big Wade at the time. So they ended up losing, or they won that series 3-2, kicking King out, and King was like a very big favorite at the time. So it doesn't matter like who their third is. Obviously they got a really good third in Glare now, but Chief and basically have always been those guys that they know how to work as a team, and they just, I feel like out of, you know, Rocket League, I don't know how they are in person, but it just feels like they connect on such a different level than a lot of the players that we see. As a shot going through there from basically, but that's not going to be from the veteran off the pass, it's going to be from the rookie in Glare as one goes through. That's
a great beat. Has to rely on a bit. Texas Tech just missing the backboard read, but hey, you put your opponent's defense in a tough spot and they're bound to make mistakes. That's the whole point of playing that ball right there, to see if you get an opening. And the opening was presented to ECU, and opening goal, yes, but still 4 minutes left to play. We'll see if the Pirates can keep it up.
Texas Tech, they're definitely going to want to try to take advantage of these counterattacks, because ECU, they're sending pretty much everything at this orange net. I mean, you see all 3 players kind of sitting up field, even like except for Chief because he just got spawned in on demo. But whenever they're on the attack, they'll have all 3 up trying to get as aggressive as possible. And while yes, in theory, that is good if you want to have a strong offense, and it has worked, if Texas Tech can learn how to kind of regain around this and just work around the little loopholes they can find in this offensive pressure, then they can definitely take advantage and get some counterattacks going, and they can switch the series back into their favor.
They got the talent to do it, but they have to execute at this point. Otherwise, they're down as Glare put a great shot on target, but Bramble stomached the majority of that shot. Good stop, and now let's clear the zone. And with no boost, just forced to do a 50 with basically, but Wild's actually kind of the same story. Was given a chance on the ball, but it was just a 50-50 with basically. So ECU, off the back of a couple of challenges won, will find it clear. Bramble's just taking out Buki. Awkward for Texas Tech defensively, but they don't concede.
Texas Tech, something that we talked about this entire series, their defense has looked strong. It's just the offense that's had so many issues, as right there with coming out from Buki, and they've had more offense, I feel like, on their own half than they have in the opponent's half, if that makes sense, because of the 2 own goals. So They definitely got to learn how to get it into that blue net rather than the orange. As Bramble, he might have an open net there, but basically able to get back in time. And now here we go with the pressure from Texas Tech. It's going to go quick for the pass. Wild's trying to get one, but a good stop from Chief. And ECU still holding strong onto that lead.
Basically, feel a lot of space back right now, but Wild stops him nicely. The follow-up's good from Bramble. Buki can shoot, but Chief is right there, and ECU are really putting together a stout back line, as they always seem like they're in the face of Texas Tech. Even the creative passing plays, ECU seem to be ready for, and Texas Tech, they're trying to find this equalizing goal, but nothing has fallen through, and basically stopped by Wild. So the defense is solid, you're right, Skyline, but offense just can't get through these Pirates.
The player that we've kind of been pointing out, you've been pointing out, especially Chief.
Yeah.
Something I'll point out, playing a really good second man in the midfield as well. Something that's also allowed them to keep so much pressure onto this orange half is the fact that every single time they have that first man challenge, someone like Chief is there to follow right behind it. So ECU, the reason why they're getting so much pressure and have scored so many goals this entire series is because they're able to have such great positioning and work as a team that they just trust each other so much. And even with this new addition of Blair, it just looks like they're already so confident in him and their own abilities that it just has looked unstoppable whenever they go against teams like this who are trying to control their own pace but can't.
Good read. Chief is right there. Even as Texas Tech are garnering more time spent on their offensive half, well, ECU was stopping them, but that's a completely open net. Buki will score the equalizer with 60 seconds left as Chief misses there off the sidewall, and that combined with a demo is the first for Texas Tech.
Yeah, Chief not sober, and I mean, he kind of fits the name there. He didn't look sober as he whipped that ball on the goal line, but he gets it right back. Oh, just ever so slightly, so it doesn't even matter. He might whip it on the goal line on his own net, but he isn't whipping it there. That's going to be a wide open net off the kickoff and a nice little pass back off the cheat, and everything works out well for ECU to take a lead right back.
Chief has got the Midas touch tonight. Unbelievable. Even after whiffing there to directly give Texas Tech an open net to score on, he scores off kickoff and now has no boost to try and work this ball out, but Texas Tech should win that challenge. Bramble does nicely. Has a chance to shoot for Wilds, but ECU is up to meet him. Buki through the corners, a lot of work to do, but does beat that first man and basically gives Wilds a chance to shoot, and he goes far side to tie us up again.
What a slot by Wildson. What a better pass by Buki. Gets the read over basically and puts it perfectly under Chief, who was in the net. He was pretty much covering like 85-90% of that net. The only place he could shoot that from an angle like that is bottom right, and he reads that to perfection. What an insanely well-placed goal from the Texas Tech boys in order to get this one back. But it's going to go right back on target for ECU as a good save from Bramble to keep that one out.
2-2. Texas Tech want this game 4, but can they keep it out of the hands of ECU? That's a great look, and if Chief hadn't dived in as the third man, that might be the game-winning goal. But Texas Tech lived to fight on, still need to recover as Chief is back in the fray, and with 4 seconds left, ECU lead again.
Yeah, Red Raiders, y'all might have some nice little two-man passing plays, but ECU coming out stronger with all 3 players getting involved in that one. Beautifully set up there, and just a nice little tap under the last defender. No one is saving that one, and ECU taking this one unless Wilds can keep it up. The ball staying in, and now some magic has to happen as they got to go the whole length of the field, but ECU still trailing on into this orange half. Bramble able to keep it up. The double commit coming out as Buki tries to keep it up, but that one's going to go off the wall down in East Carolina, now on triple match point heading into game number 5.
Oh, it's a decent look for Texas Tech. That wasn't a bad game from them, but they just could not stop Chief over and over again. It feels like we're calling his name out, but Glare, the setup man, with 3 assists there on 10 ECU shots. I mean, Texas Tech have lanes back into this series, but they have to find a way to consistently stop the flurries of opportunities that ECU are putting on that orange net, because when ECU find solid possession in the Red Raiders' end, it seems like all signs point towards a goal.
ECU definitely know how to take care of those advantages on defense. And Texas Tech, they've had some themselves. It's just, it shows how teams who are more cooperative with each other and know how to work around these defenses, especially in the chances you get where it's like 3-on-2s, 2s-on-1s. You can hit it every now and then, but the team who's more consistent is going to end up winning. And ECU, like you said, Glare having all 3 assists on 3 goals for his team, showing why he is such a strong player coming into this, because he had a hat trick in the first game. Now he's got a hat trick of assist in this game. I mean, he has been such a great all-around player for this ECU team. And Bramble, he's been playing great on defense. Wild's been playing great on offense. And Buki being a good second, third man refilling. But Texas Tech, they're just not capitalizing like ECU has been able to. And ECU is running away with this pretty much, even though these games have seemed somewhat close, except for the 2 that ECU won for their first.
All right. The gauntlet has been laid down for Texas Tech, and Glare will continue to pave a path away from a Red Raiders win. That is the opening goal just 6 seconds in, and Glare cut up the TTU defense.
He's slicing and dicing there indeed, as he just takes it in a 1v3 situation, and it doesn't matter if there's 3 players there, he gets it past all of them. As now Chief trying to play off Glaire's 50, but not able to get the read. So that ball's going to go bang back onto the blue half, and basically taking his time with it. Player who's been known for his mechanics, but an unfortunate 50 for him, and gets a shot opportunity for Texas Tech. And again, another opportunity burned to the wayside, as they just have not been able to capitalize on these as well as ECU has.
Those are the ones you need to hit. It was a tough shot for Wilds, but still one that is so important and a must-win game for Texas Tech to equalize that soon. And now the possession falls away for the Red Raiders. They have to reclaim it, but Glare is first on the scene in the TTU corner and is out 50 by Bramble. So too is basically. So ECU are thrown into a bit of chaos. Basically will try and recover it, but a neutral 50-50 is all he can get. Chief Not Sober is allowed some time on the ball, and looks like we'll settle into some normalcy for a moment.
Texas Tech still stuck on their back line as a shot going out, and Wilds with no boost, so he's forced to try to throw that one away. And here comes Glare trying to play the press right back on, and overcommit's going to come out though. So now Buki has a 1v1 opportunity with Chief. Chief faking it, a very risky fake there for him, but it ends up working out, as pressure still actually mounting for Texas Tech. They're still trying to keep that one on. And we have definitely seen them play up to their strengths here and there, but ECU just playing it better, as basically getting the shot on target, and he doesn't need to worry about the rest as his team clears away for him, and that one's just going to roll in. The 1-2 play from the veterans.
Bramble almost got that. That was so close to being a spectacular in and out save, but the pressure that Chief Not Silver put on the goal line makes Bramble awkward enough for that shot to fall, and ECU again are just making it happen in offense. And that's a soft double commit right there. Glare and Chief both went up for that play, and Chief is going up again, but it doesn't matter. Texas Tech are still struggling to break into offense, and ECU seem to be getting chance after chance. And quick shout out to Pay for the subscription, and Wilds will score, as Pay has dropped the sub, saying Oklahoma's winning the SEL for real. Maybe this is Wilds' rebuttal to that.
I can't agree with that, considering I have to play Oklahoma this week. So
fair.
I have a little bit of bias. But, you know, good luck to them. But Wilds getting a nice little dribble as we go back into this game and giving some life back to Texas Tech. Something that they've been doing back and forth in this series, but ECU still kind of controlling it even when it looks like Texas Tech kind of gets their hope back up. So I expect Texas Tech to keep that pressure on as much as they can, because we don't want another like NA Hopium situation last season where you see, you know, the team, they keep getting so close and it looks like they might be able to do it, and then right at the very end it's just like, oh yeah, well, PU's won again.
Well, again, it's still that narrative where Texas Tech gets so close and then ECU stop them right at the goal line. It turns into a clear and nearly a goal. Buki didn't get dunked by the first man of ECU, but Glare eventually picks his pocket, and now Glare is leaving that ball for basically, so ECU will cement their possession here. at the start of potentially the final 2 minutes of this series as ECU lead 3-1 in the set, but Texas Tech have something to say about it. It's a musty that was just off target with no rebound opportunity allowed, as I think that was a skim of a clear from ECU.
Yeah, that was a great skim, as that was just a very well saved play there. Could have turned very ugly for ECU if he did not get that touch. So they are now going to put the press back on, and even up by a single goal, usually you want to keep pressure on, yes, but you want to play a little bit more conservative as well to ensure that you keep that lead. ECU is saying, forget that. We're just going to keep going and putting pressure onto Texas Tech. We don't want to let them control the game. We don't want to let them keep control. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that this team plays our game, and ECU just doing that so well as they actually go for a double commit there, and the pressure and the speed is just staying so quick for ECU as another goal coming through right there for them.
I think that sort of read, that ground to backboard, catch the ball off the bounce type of read, is one of my biggest differences between ECU and Texas Tech here, because fairly consistently, East Carolina have made that read, and they've put the ball into the corner, where Texas Tech, I can think of 3 different opportunities where they've missed that read and it's led immediately to an ECU score. Right there, great example. Now the game is almost out of reach, and it's that kind of defensive breakdown that it's not an easy spot to be in, yes, but it's a read you need to make, and the kind of breakdown you can't afford if your offense is just narrowly missing opportunities like that. And I think that play right there was the ticket for Texas Tech to get back in this thing, and they couldn't make it happen.
Texas Tech showing signs of brilliance there for just a second. It shows you the peak potential that they have with the passing plays and mechanics they have. It just has not shown this entire night.
Yeah.
And so that's something you got to have consistently if you want to win series like this. And you can have them here and there, but ECU has been more consistent with them. And that's why they have been so dominant going into this series and pretty much closing it out. So unless Texas Tech can get a goal right here, this one might be case closed, and that might be series, as Bramble just throwing another shot on target, hoping for the best as pressure mounting for Texas Tech. But with that miss there off the pass from Bramble, that is going to solidify this series win 4-1 for ECU, and for the Division II boys showing up, the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Division I team.
I know that's going to be a narrative all throughout the season, though, in the SEL, between the Tier 2 top teams and the bottom side of Tier 1. It's going to be, we should have been up there, you should have been down here with us. That chip on the shoulder is something those Tier 2 teams should carry with them. And East Carolina played with a chip tonight. They looked good the entirety of that best of 7, and now they're at 500 on Night Lights all time.
Yeah, congrats to the boys at ECU. Like I said, I had a little bit of bias towards them just because of family matters, but even so, they just showed why they're such a team that whenever those 3 are playing on their own, especially with the combination of Chief and basically, they look dominant tonight. And then with their new addition, like you said, of Glare, he just fits in so well with that roster that they will definitely pull off some upsets. I expect them to pull off some upsets, and like I said, a team and a match to watch out for in Pool 1 of Tier 2 is going to be them against King. And realistically, I think they could very well beat King, a team that I think, what was it, Dylan predicted top 4 whenever the
I think so.
Precast was doing. So definitely a team that a lot of people have eyes on, and ECU showing why that they should be looked at as well.
Well, Kings look good. They've got some good results right now. That CECC South qualifier, I think, showed what King, the peaks that King can reach. But then again, they have some poor results in the SEL tier assignment. So who knows what's going to happen? We got basically joining the VC with us. I've just dragged him in. Basically there. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. And I gotta know, did you guys play that series with the thought in mind that Texas Tech went 5-1 in the SEL tier assignment? You guys were the first team out thanks to all the tiebreaker stuff you had to go through. Did you play with that in mind, that they're Tier 1, you guys are the top of Tier 2?
Honestly, a little bit, yeah. It wasn't directly at them, but we were a little frustrated that we missed out on Tier 1 this time around, so it gave us a little bit of extra motivation.
Fair.
Yeah, fair indeed. And I know, as a North Carolinian myself, I've always showed love to the ECU boys, and y'all played well out there tonight. Especially with you and Chief. Y'all have been such a dominant duo for a long time, and I've had the privilege of being able to follow y'all as someone who's been in the collegiate scene for a long time. Would you say you and Chief, like, the connection both on the field and off the field is just so strong that, like, the friendship just goes more ways than one, and that's why it shows y'all are so dominant on this field. It's just the connection is just right there. It's just that brain chemistry between the two of y'all.
Honestly, yeah, because that's one of my favorite parts about the ECU squad as a whole. All of my teammates, we've always been good friends with each other, but like you said, me and Chief have been playing together since my first semester, about 3 or 4 semesters ago.
Wow.
So we're just good friends on and off the field. You should see our messages. It's just it's not just teammates. We're actually friends, and I think it shows on the field as well.
I mean, yeah, definitely showed the how well y'all play the night. The passing plays looked amazing. The bump plays looked even better. But someone I kind of want to throw into the fray here is your new teammate in Glare. Y'all have a strong connection, but Glare coming in as the rookie on this squad. Are you saying that, like, would you say he's lived up to the expectations for y'all? Like, he's definitely looked strong to us, having a hat trick in the first game, a hat trick of assists in game three. He's definitely looked like he's fitting well for y'all, and is he, as good as y'all expected, if not better?
He's lived up, honestly, he's exceeded my expectations because we didn't know anything of him until about like 2 weeks before last semester, so we
Wow.
had no idea how he was going to be like until pretty much like our first match. And I feel like he complements us very well, as I've always been more of a third man support kind of role, and Chief fills in that nice second man role, really good all around player. And as you can see, Glare has mechanics and speed, and I mean, he puts the ball in the back of the net.
Well, this is
Yeah.
definitely the best looking ECU I've seen in a little bit, and I want you to tell me kind of what your expectations for this team are, both in terms of kind of the SEL format and also CCS, because it's two kind of big parallel leagues for you guys right now, and also C3 if you want to throw that in there. But where do you see this ECU team going this spring semester?
Well, I'll start off with C3. I would say, especially since Lander's A team has dropped out,
Mm-hmm.
I would say we are definitively the top three teams in contention with USC and UNC Charlotte, of course. And I believe we'll make land, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
imagine we at least get a podium finish, if not
Nice.
something even more. CCS, I imagine we'll make a pretty good run, make it, I'd say at least make the semifinals in our playoffs in our conference, and I would like to say all of our performances this season are going to get us another top 64 bid, and with SEL, I think we're definitely going to finish top two in our group. King is a really good team, so unfortunately, I most likely have to miss that match, but either way, it'll be a good
Mm,
game with our sub. And we already played our first match of SEL today. I believe it was UTK Blue. We swept them 3-0, so it was a good start to the
okay.
season for us. And I imagine we'll make at worst, a very good LCQ run. If not, we can make playoffs.
All right. Right on. Hey, who is the sub playing against King this week?
His name is Odd Trip.
Odd Trip. He was on the B team for a little while, right? He's on
Yeah,
gold.
not not last semester, but the semester prior. And last semester, he just said he would rather be our sub and be able to spend more time with us. And as he felt he would learn more and improve more being around us more than playing in B leagues.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, playing King's gonna be some good experience. I remember my Huntington guys played against him on the ECUB team, so I watched him play. Pretty decent. So hopefully he can step up, fill your shoes well. It'll be difficult to do though. Basically, congrats on the win tonight. You're looking good.
All right, thank you.
All right, that concludes our show. I was basically from ECU looking to make runs in all the leagues this season. Skyline, I appreciate you joining me. You want any last words before we do close this out?
Yeah, I appreciate you for inviting me, and had a fun time tonight watching the ECU boys taking home the W, and a lot more to come from that team. Like I said, definitely a team to keep an eye out on for SEL, and potentially for just Rocket League in general for Collegiate. They have looked strong, and like I said, I just have bias towards any team from North Carolina, so I'm gonna
Fair.
keep blazing. But no, it was a great series all around tonight, and good luck to everyone starting in the SEL as it starts this weekend tomorrow officially. Unless, well, except for basically in his boys just getting it done against UTK Blue
Fair
tonight.
enough.
But yeah, good luck to everyone in SEL, and we look forward to seeing y'all in the future.
Twitch.tv/esportsSEL tomorrow at 7 Central, 8 Eastern. As we kick off Season 5 Spring Split of the SEL. It feels so good to be back, but thank you, all of you that tuned in tonight. Appreciate my lovely casters, Skyline and Somber, Dylan and TJ on State of the SEL earlier this evening, and shout out to all the players for playing. Much love from Tuesday Night Lights. I'll see you tomorrow on the SEL mainstream. Till then, peace out.